Okay guys, so I got a 2006 Ford Escape with the 3-liter motor V6, and I'm working on doing a timing cover replacement because the gaskets were puking. So to start, I took off the valve covers, intake manifold, unbolted the throttle body, air intake. There's the EGR, and then like some solenoid that controls it or something. A bunch of different like wires, clips, throttle cable, bunch of different things. I'm gonna end up taking the lower intake manifold and replacing those gaskets because I don't want them to leak. Thankfully, this rear cam seal is not leaking, so I'm not gonna have to mess with that. Otherwise, that'd be fun. So I did pull the engine mount. It's hanging by the other three. It's doing just fine. Here you can kind of see this is the front timing cover, so it's pretty nasty. I pulled the crank and cam sensors as well. I'm going to be replacing this crankshaft seal. Here's the valve covers. And this is the little baffle plate for the oil pan. I took that off, so I'm going to get that all cleaned up. I'll be replacing these gaskets. Use my puller for the crank. That worked great. And then this is like the tube for the EGR, so I unbolted that as well because this tube's so long, it's too much of a pain to try to wiggle it out. What else here? So yeah, this is the oil pan. I'm gonna get this all blasted clean. There's just tons of sludge and nastiness. It's been leaking for a while. You can kind of see all the grime and gunk here. Access wise, here's what we're working with. I had to unbolt the AC compressor to be able to unbolt this power steering unit. If I did not unbolt this power steering unit, I couldn't get the timing cover off because these bolts bolt to the timing cover. I ended up pulling this outer tie rod end, just trying to get access in here from the alternator, because the alternator bolts to the timing cover. There's a big stud that goes to the top side. There's two plastic covers, a lower one and an upper one, and they were held on by 8mm nuts, which were a total pain in the butt to get off. Access is just not very good. There's some weird plastic duct that was in the way. I had to unbolt a bunch of this crud. So yeah, this is a very time-consuming job. I just gotta work on replacing these seals, getting everything cleaned up, and slowly put it back together. So I've got my gaskets here. This is for the intake manifold upper and lower. I'm going to be replacing the PVC. Here is timing cover, and I believe, yeah, the crank seal, we got that. And let's see, this is the oil pan, so we're definitely replacing that. Engine air filter, I got Permatex Ultra Black, 2 tubes. And then here I labeled and bagged my bolts so I don't forget what goes where. I'm going to be putting in new spark plugs, obviously changing the oil, and then I've got new valve cover gaskets. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Valve cover gaskets and little grommets that go in there. What else? I think that's it. So yeah, I'll just be kind of taking my time getting everything cleaned up as much as I can. I'll be using like a orange citrus degreaser, and for the oil pan and timing cover, because I've unbolted everything that might preclude any water entrapment, I'm gonna scrub that clean and pressure wash it. And there's the alternator stud. So that's a big pain in the butt, just trying to get the alternator off of there. I had to drop the motor down just to get it by here. And then I use this cardboard to keep my bolts, which goes where. And then there's also a engine mount right here, and that bolts to the timing cover. So I kept all the bolts in perfect order how they go. I got my auto tensioner and pulley. I'll get those all cleaned up too. There's the other part of the engine mount. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm working with. I think I've got about 9 or 10 hours into just removing all this crap. So I'm just gonna take my time, get everything cleaned up as much as I can. Here's that weird intake tube that goes, it kind of feeds air into the alternator. But anyway, I'll just take my time, get everything cleaned up, get it put back together. Here's another bracket. I forget what that goes to, but that had oil dripping on it for quite some time. So pretty nasty, but it'll be nice not to have it leaking oil anymore.